Too often, atheists and evolutionists here online are observed participating in shady tactics. And unfortunately for myself, during the last few months, I have realized that I have become far too laid back, allowing the lying, hypocrisy, and out-of-context accusations to continue. In this video, I'm going to tackle these issues not necessarily for my sake, but for the sake of those listening so that you can better understand the underhanded games these intolerant, secular individuals play in order to push their agenda and discredit the opposition. We are going to begin with this clip in which Fiona, an evolutionist here online, is observed avoiding context in a clip she had taken from me in one of my recent discussions with an atheist here online by the name of Hogtie.
Just said was not true at all. What you started interrupting.
You're a liar, Ronnie. You're a straight up liar. You're a straight up liar, a dishonest person who will falsely accuse other people of lying at the drop of a hat.
I'm getting tired of this nonsense. I want to broadcast you so that I can get my word in. Anybody who watches and goes back to what just happened right now, I was talking, you interrupted me, and I repeatedly told you to stop. There was no lag there whatsoever. So to try to apply that lag right there at that point when you wouldn't shut your mouth is a lie coming straight out of your mouth. And I'm not going to sit over here and listen to you insult my intelligence as if that didn't happen. You're a liar, Hogtie, and you always do things like this where you insult our intelligence as if we didn't see what happened. I'm in the freaking room talking to you right now. What makes you think I don't remember what just happened 3 minutes ago? I mean, so stop it with this nonsense.
To you, Ronnie, there seems to be no way that I can be polite enough when I said, there was one point when I said, hey, Ronnie, real quick, there's 10 seconds lag. It's about 10 seconds. And then I stopped talking. And you just seem to reject that. You seem to think that I'm just here to be rude to you. I'm not, right? I have, remember, of all the things that you complain about these people do, I don't do. I've never called you names or said you were stupid or anything like that. There was one moment, you go back and listen to the recording, there's one moment where you interrupted me. I stepped back and yielded to your interjection, right? I don't always keep talking when somebody interrupts. I give them room. And then Antonio said something, and I said, sorry, what, Antonio? And then Antonio was talking for about 6 seconds. And then you interrupted while Antonio was talking to shout, stop, 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 Hogtie, stop, I'm going to mute you.
No.
You go back and listen to the recording. You can hear it clear as a bell.
I got to end this thing out soon.
Because there was a significant lag.
I don't think you're getting it. I got to end this hangout soon, so we can't keep on continuing on this.
Hey, hold tight real quick, man.
You will mute me once, and that will be it. Go ahead, Antonio, please. I'm curious to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I was just saying he did try to say something. And
No, shut up, Hogtie. I'm done.
Before I even continue, I want people to understand why this even matters. There are many dissenters and opposers of what intelligent design supporters like myself and creationists hold to. These opposers have either failed hard or would rather remain keyboard heroes and criticize from the safety of rooms with no one present to engage those claims being made. Or if they engage, it is usually with 9 of them against one creationist telling them he doesn't know enough about the topic to engage. So in order to keep up appearances here online and to continue to act as if they are in the right, they have to sort of sweep under the rug the fact that they avoid discussions with people who do know at least enough to respond to the things they are saying, while constantly looking for people who know little to nothing about the topics. In a nutshell, they need to avoid people they know can squash the BS they flaunt so passionately, but need to do so without allowing those real reasons to be obvious while keeping their image intact. Now, there are a variety of excuses usually attacking our education or knowledge, but in this case concerning this video, there has been an accusation going on that I mute unfairly and decrease volume. So how did Fiona go about proving this situation in which Hogtie clearly came in to provoke and poison the well? By dishonest games of editing, focusing in on one section and leaving out what happened in the beginning of the very clip she took out. Here is the beginning of the clip Fiona did not show.
Just a second, I'm getting multiple hangout. Go ahead. I'm getting that weird thing where you get multiple hangout calls at the same time. Oh, okay, it's cleared.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to point out is that what you're saying is utter nonsense. The reason why our
No,
hangouts
it's not.
become
It's
echo
not.
chambers
It's not. And no, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you tell me that's utter nonsense. You can approach me respectfully.
I don't care what you want.
You can talk to me. Yes, you can talk to me respectfully. I don't care how much you want to froth and rage tonight, but you can talk to me respectfully. No, you're not. You're not. You're entering.
I mean, look at
No, take a breath.
Hey, hold tight, real quick, man.
Now, this isn't the only time this has happened in which careful editing has gone on to misrepresent something I have said. For example, here is a short video made by an individual by the name of Steve.
How does ATP synthase operate? And then I want you to explain to me how a Pelton turbine operates and to why they're different.
Okay, ATP synthase is an enzyme that makes ATP.
Ignorance, pure ignorance. Why did you say that it's an enzyme?
It is an enzyme.
No, ATP synthase is built on numerous different enzymes or proteins.
This animated sequence shows the ATP synthase enzyme in operation.
Now, for anybody who sees this deceitful editing non-believers like Steve has done just now, of course the end result is going to be, I don't know what I'm talking about, because of course ATP synthase is an enzyme. But the argument wasn't, is ATP synthase an enzyme, but about the numerous enzymes and protein subunits that made up the structure in an attempt to break the structure down components by component, then to compare it to the components of other turbines like steam turbines or Pelton turbines. Let's replay the clip and hear what was actually said in full context so we can hear what was said that Steve left out so he could push his agenda.
Water, steam, gas, or air. Okay, that's
ignorance,
what a turbine
ignorance,
is.
pure ignorance. Why did you say that it's an enzyme?
It is an enzyme.
No, ATP synthase is built on numerous different enzymes or proteins, numerous different enzymes and proteins placed in a coordinated fashion for it to give overall function. You have 10 different protein subunits at the top of the shaft, which causes it to spin and turn. As the gradients come in through that shaft, that'll make it spin and turn, opening up the F1 part of the structure to allow ADP to come in to be converted into adenosine triphosphate. Now, what happens is that along this mitochondrial matrix, there are also, before we get into that, you understand and acknowledge, for example, that with steam turbines and Pelton turbines, there's something being fed into a system, right? Like steam or water, right?
What you're doing is you're trying to expand the definition of a turbine to include.
No, I'm trying to break it down step by step by comparing each component parts of ATP synthase. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to compare step by step the component parts of ATP synthase, and then step by step the component parts of Pelton turbines and steam turbines, so you can see that they are directly identical.
You see, these are the types of things these non-believers and evolutionists do. They flat out lie, manipulate what we say through editing so they can arrange how we have said something and attack that distortion of what we have said rather than what we are actually saying. And ironically, the same people who act as if they just want our discussions to be productive and to be about points pass this accusation around about me.
So, as a result, he's like, well, now I want to focus on arguments, which completely negates his whole focus on credentials.
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, this is a good thing. Good. Bob was tired. I mean, we all knew he had no credentials. So we just went back the few times where he went, you know, if you knew my credentials, you'd cry, you'd shoot yourself in the face and bury yourself, you piece of shit. And now we know, okay, no actual credentials. All right, good. Let's just hear the arguments then. I'm fine with that. Does anyone else? Does anyone else have an issue? Yeah.
Now, this statement is derived from a comment made about a year ago. It was actually this guy that passed it around the internet, zeroing in on this section rather than it in context. Let's read what was actually said. We can have a discussion, but I will keep my credentials private. Why? Because I have many discussions with people, sometimes scientists and laymen, If I tell one person my credentials, they might be intimidated and throw me off by saying, well, I don't have the education. If there is somebody who has a higher degree, even if I am right, might just throw me under the bus in attempts to override what I say with their position rather than any point. So I say, let the point speak for themselves, but the fact that you challenge my position is kind of questionable as to whether or not you understand. I mean, most of what I talk about is the stuff you learn from college. You see, my position from the beginning was I did not want people to avoid hearing what I have to say because of any schooling they may not have had, nor did I want to just be brushed aside and to be ignored because somebody may have had more of an education. I wanted to be about point and the evidence. You see, they ignored the context of what I was trying to say and zeroed in on one section to try to make it sound like my position was different. Now, earlier I made a statement that it was ironic that these people would throw this out-of-context accusation at me because it seems that they are all directly guilty of exactly this. I have noticed how we get such an angry, bitter reaction when one of these individuals are shown to be wrong. Here is a clip that some of you will remember from a biologist here on YouTube, but you may not have seen his behavior after he realized he was wrong. Take a listen.
So the ATP synthase has 5 subunits: alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon. The first 5 letters of the Greek alphabet.
Actually, it's the other way around. You got things mistaken and you're wrong. And this is very clear to anybody who's got an understanding of ATP synthase and its structure. What you're referring to of where the 5 subunits are in the F1 ATPase's catalytic core. What I'm talking about is the 1680K proteolipid, or the C ring. That's where the 10 to 15 subunits are. I think you need to quit while you're behind, bro.
Well, actually, I have to thank Ronnie for clarifying his terms, because in his original video, I thought his language was so messy that I couldn't parse out what he was saying. So thank you. It is true. According to the textbook that I used for molecular biology when I took it, boom, right there, molecular biology of the cell, there are 10 to 14 proteins in the C ring. And that's fair. Here's a gotcha, Ronnie. I have 2 degrees. One is a bachelor's in biology and computer science, and the other is a master's in biology. I am in one of the leading systems biology labs in the country, if not the world, working under a PI who, under the age of 50, has already permanently changed the field. I guess I gotcha, Ronnie, because I actually make a living off of my biological knowledge. If you want to make this into an intellectual dick measuring contest, I'm fully willing to do that, because I'm a petty asshole and my audience finds it entertaining. Because let's face it, Ronnie, look at your scenery, look at the way that you look. Just don't make fun of people, because you sound like a moron. I mean, really. This is just entertaining, because you haven't made a single intellectual point. You're just trying to play word games.
Isn't it interesting that how I got such a rise out of him was because he was wrong about something? Even more so, he thought I was making fun of him because I pointed out he was wrong. Now, I can keep going on with numerous examples of those that participate in our little community, but I'm going to stop here. The reality is that these people who oppose us are not doing so because they are interested in the truth. They are cowards here online, only attempting to inflate their own ego. This is why they have to keep playing these types of games. And above all, they lie. And this word is not to just be tossed around lightly. They spread misinformation, knowing what they are saying is not true, or is exaggerated and twisted information only true in part. So I end it with hoping that from now on, whenever you hear somebody say anything here online, you check out all the facts and make sure to ask those they are throwing accusations at and what their side of the matter actually is. Do your own research and think for yourself.